Assalamu alaikum grade 7s. We're carrying on with surface area of 3D objects. Yesterday we did a cube and we looked at how a cube has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces and how we calculate the surface area of the cube. So that is quite simple. The surface area of the cube is 6 times length. And why do we say that? Because if we look at the cube, the cube is made up of 6 equal squares, and we know we've done the area of a square, which is length times the length. So if you're taking the area of the one square and you're multiplying it by 6, we are able to get the surface area of the entire cube. So when we talk about surface area, we're talking about all the space that covers the entire cube all around. So that's why when you open it up like this here, it's showing you that it has 6 squares, and we're working out how much of space do we need all around the cube. So for example, if you have a present that's a cube and you want to wrap it with wrapping paper, you would have to calculate the surface area of it, and then you know how much meters of wrapping paper that you need, right? So this is a square example here. You can see that it has this one is the square example. It has 6 faces, and we've done that yesterday. Today we're moving on to a rectangular prism. Okay, a rectangular prism. Here's an example of a rectangular prism. The difference between a rectangular prism, remember we've done area of a rectangle. The two equal sides, opposite sides are equal. So when we see a sign like this, we are saying opposite sides are equal. So this 3 centimeters will be equals to that 3 centimeters, and this 4 centimeters will be equals to that 4 centimeters. That was a normal rectangle. Now when we're looking at a rectangular prism, it means we have a box, but the shape of the box is no more a square. The shape of the box is a rectangular prism. We call it a rectangular prism. And how many faces do we have? We still have 6 faces, but now the difference is that the faces are all not equal. They all are not squares. So if we open up this rectangular prism, and now we have a box, and we want to wrap the box up, and we want to see how much of surface area we have, it means we need to spread it out like that and see how to calculate the area of each one of these here, and then add them together will give us the surface area of this rectangular prism. Remember when we did the cube, it's the same thing. You're working out the area of the 6 squares and you're adding them together, but the short way to do it is just to take the area of one square and multiply it by 6. Now with the rectangular prism, we need to do it step by step, because can you see what we end up with? Can you see face number 1 here? So this is number 1. It's the same as this number 1 here. So we've got 2 of these faces. Then we've got 2 of these faces here. So this is number 2. This is number 2. And this is number 3. And this is number 3. So what we need to do is we need to just simply calculate the area of these rectangles and add them up together. So we've got 2 of these here. So we need to calculate the area of these 2. And then add it to calculate the area of these 2 here, and then calculate the area of these 2 here, and then add them all together. So the formula to do it, the surface area of a rectangular prism, we say 2 multiplied by the area of face 1, right, which is this one here, plus the area of face 2, plus the area of face 3, right? So what it's telling you to do is to take, we've got 1, 2, 3, okay, and we're going to add the areas up together and multiply it by 2 so that we're getting this 1, 2, 3 here. So we're working out the area of this part and then multiplying it by 2 to get the area of the entire rectangular prism. Let's look at an example in numbers. Okay, so let's also revise the cube at the same time. Calculate the surface area of a cube with the sides 5 centimeters. So this one was simple. You guys all had it right yesterday. Surface area of a cube, 6 multiplied by the length multiplied by the length. Okay, so we're going to say, or you can say side times side. It means the same thing. If you see side or face or length, it means the same thing, right? So we're saying 6 times length with 6 multiplied by 5 times 5, and our answer becomes 150 centimeters squared. Remember, we're multiplying 2 times, so we have to put a square there. Okay, now let's look at a rectangular prism, and today we're going to practice a rectangular prism. Here's a rectangular prism, and it's telling you the blocks are representing 1 centimeter. So this face on the top has 4 centimeters by 3 centimeters. Okay, this face has 4 centimeters by 2 centimeters. This face has 3 centimeters by 2 centimeters. So when you're looking at the prism, you can see the 3 faces, right? And then you have to work out the areas and then just multiply it by 2. So let's look how they write the formula. For now, you can learn the formula and later on you'll remember it, inshallah. So the total area will be 2 multiplied by the length times the breadth. So this is face number 1. 2 multiplied by the length times the breadth, face number 2, plus 2 multiplied by length times the breadth, which is face number 3. So let's see which one they used first. 2 times 3, so they've made this one face number 1. So here's number 1 here, so they've made the first one number 1. So we're working out the area. Okay, so 2 times 3 will be the area. Now remember, we have to multiply it by 2 because there's somewhere going to be another, the face at the back is going to match this one here. So there's 2 of these faces, so we're saying 2 times 3. Then we're adding plus 2 multiplied by 2 times 4. So they've used now 2 times 4, which becomes 2 times 4. It's this face here. Okay, so they've used this one as face number 2. So this is face number 2. Okay, 2 times 4 is the area. Then we have to multiply it by 2 because there's one face this side and one face that side. And then we've got face number 3, which is obviously going to be the leftover one. 2 times 3 times 4, which is the one on the top here. Okay, it doesn't matter in which order you do it, that's not going to make a difference as long as you're using 3 faces. And why are we multiplying them each one by 2? Because each face, there's 2 of them, right? So this one will be at the bottom of this rectangular prism. So we're saying 2 times 3 times 4. Okay, so what we do is you're going to say 3 times 2 is 6. We're solving the bracket. Then you're multiplying it by 2 and your answer is 12. Then you're saying 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Remember, we're carrying the plus signs from there. Okay, so this one is 4 times 3 is 12. Times 2 is 24. We're adding all that together and we get 52 centimeters squared. Okay, so you can learn it in this way. You can write it. It's easier to remember because we used to working with length times breadth. So when you want to work out the total surface area, so this is called the surface area of a rectangular prism. So what we've covered is the cube and the rectangular prisms. What you need to remember is that the cube is easier. You're just taking one area of the one face and multiplying it by 6, which is length times 6. And this one here, we have to work out the area of the 3 faces that we can see on the measurements and then multiply each one by 2. Okay.